episode of the Success Secret podcast with your host Hussein Talib. In this episode, I have with me Erin Andrea Craske to talk about how to avoid business detrimental mistakes in the first 3 to 5 years. Brands and business strategy are a must for business if they want to achieve profitability. Erin is an award-winning strategist, presents 20 years career, a global head of consumer brands with expertise in strategic development, profitability, leadership, and communication. She is an ICF-certified executive transformation coach, leveraging 16 years of leadership. She empowers conscious business rebels to succeed and create positive impacts. Erin, welcome to this episode of the Success Secret podcast.
Thank you for having me here. And to be honest, I didn't even expect that I sound so good. Thank you.
Welcome, Erin. So, the first thing is, I'm glad you are here with me in this episode. I know these things are very important to businesses, having longevity and profitability. This is what we are in business for, profitability. But first thing is, because this is the Success Secret podcast, what does success means to you, and what do you think or believe other people have things or say or do things that are you don't believe they are true about success?
What a wonderful question. Something that you don't have an answer off the bat, to be honest. For me, because I was trying to define it to myself. And for me, I guess success means making happen. It means seeing positive results of my efforts. That is, seeing positive results of the efforts, that I bring to achieve whatever I want to achieve. So that's what success means to me. With regards to other people, to be honest, I don't know, because everybody is different and I have no idea, sorry, what's happening in their heads. That said, I believe that there may be misconception of what success may mean, but it's not from individual person point of view, but more from a societal point of view. There is a perception, or there is a kind of unquestionable, undoubtful knowledge that success is synonymous to wealth and status, career, and I believe that that's what shapes our perception. This is something that society tells us what success is, and we accept it as given. We don't really question it, whether it's suitable to every person, whether it's suitable to me personally, So it is something that we define in terms of, I guess, a monetary value or a status value. But again, everybody's different, and it's not the same as success, because all words, even from linguistic point of view, they're going to have different meanings.
Definitely, yes. So now business strategy and branding strategy. This is the core thing, because eventually any business there to profit. So first thing is there a difference between a brand strategy and a business strategy, or are they the same?
Oh, yes. Well, yes and no. So the difference is going to be in the question that you ask. It's like everything in marketing or in business. Ideally, you would be asking questions in the different stages to shape your direction, to shape the way where you're going, to kind of consider the resources, to consider the activities. It's all going to be defined by the question that you ask, and the questions will be different. So in brand strategy, it's more about brand positioning that creates your differentiation. In business strategy, it's more about the reason behind the business, again, the differentiation, the resources you put, altogether, it's similar in a way that you still look at differentiation, you look at the territory, you look at the competitors, you try to position yourself, you try to have your resources. But then again, the questions you ask gonna differ. The approach is the same. And marketing strategy, just for the sake of saying, is gonna be also all about asking questions, slightly different questions. But again, you start from the existing situation of where you are right now. You look at where you want to be, and you consider the path, this path towards your destination, and that is going to be a strategy.
That's important. So now, what are the pillars of, let's say, good strategy? We don't want to start specifically like we're talking here about the first years, 5 years maybe of the business, right? We don't want to make as much money. There will be mistakes, but we don't want to make as much money mistakes as like many. So, what are the pillars of a successful strategy for businesses?
You know what? Actually, strategy is the pillar that businesses very often miss. That was my perception because I was talking to quite a few businesses of different sizes, trying to understand how they operate, how to understand what their issues are. And when I was writing the guide, I also conducted a research, basically desk research, looking at the major mistake that businesses make generically speaking, and predominantly most of mistakes, if you try to categorize them into different put them in different boxes, they're going to be around brand and marketing strategy more than anything else. Because what people don't realize, or businesses don't realize, that your profitability is the profitability of every brand that you sell. This is what drives your bottom line. It's your brand success. It's not what you sell. There's always a misconception that, I'm selling. No, you're not selling. People are buying. You can sell, I don't know, till cows come home. But if nobody buys from you, you're not going to get this money. So your business strength is the strength of your brand's bottom line. And that's I guess people don't really realize that it's equal. And this is why often marketing becomes afterthought, when you have money, because it's a massive expenditure, we're going to think about it later. So they don't consider it as the money-making source. They often consider it as a waste of resource. And that's kind of a mistake. Another thing that I noticed, that there is a misunderstanding in terms of what actually strategies are. Often when you go through different digital resources, people gonna call tactics an activity strategy. So they're not the same thing. And businesses, because they're conditioned, to what they hear, often they use tactics as the way to grow business. So it's all about, I'll try it here and I'll do it here and I will do these tactics and I will do something else here, and if it doesn't work, let's switch the direction and let's try something else because somebody else told me that this is going to work. So that is what I call firefighting in business, because people and teams start running like headless chicken, changing directions. We're going to try this. No, we're going to push back. We're going to launch it, but no, it doesn't work. And that actually, it's a massive drain of resources, including human resources, including motivational resources. I'm not even talking about money, right? So this approach to tactics, instead of having a solid strategy, that is the major mistake. And another thing that is important to mention, apart from many, other things, such as misunderstanding what the brand is, misunderstanding what target audience is, misunderstanding the funnel, because funnel it's a funny one. There's one massive stage that is usually missed, and another one becomes like a focal point of all our communication because it's going to work. And it's not going to work. And what you try to do to make it work doesn't work. So, that it's another thing that obviously brings quite a lot of mistakes, because funnel is absolutely, it's a backbone of your business. You can't run it without understanding the psychology of consumers or customers moving through every stage, because the psychology behind it. And another thing that comes from all that is an extensive focus on return on investment. And that is another funny one, because return on investment, it's not equal profitability. They are totally different things. And so extensive focus on getting money here and now will dilute your profitability, your path to profitability in the future, because profitability is always long term. So when we talk about mistakes, as we started the podcast, basically, it seems to me that most businesses fail, and there is this kind of this 1, 2, 3, period, and then it's 10 years period. But the first 5 years, this is the period that is called strategic planning period. Right? So if you don't plan your activities, if you don't know what you sell, why you sell it, what resources will you need, when you need to pivot, when you need to change the direction, when you need to adjust. I mean, if you don't have it thought through from the very beginning, and you go through the trial and error for the first 5 years, well, you're going to get screwed. And this is why strategy is important, because it allows you to allocate resources and foresee your next steps, because strategy is your opportunity to plan your business future in the conditions of uncertainty. And it is uncertainty. You have to cover your back in case something goes wrong. And this is what businesses don't do. And that's why I believe that strategy is the pillar of the business. Tactics come on top, but they're not a replacement.
Yeah, definitely. Like I know generally when we talk about tactics, it's like you mentioned, it's kind of a short-term things, short-term action, like what we should do tomorrow, the day after. But basically, when we are talking strategy, it's the basically the kind of medium to long-term kind of goals for the business. So it's not like you mentioned, we're shifting from this things to do. Like it's not working in 2 days, so we're gonna do that. The next one is like it's not going. We are going to do that thing. So different things. So tactics are basically maybe some kind of fears, like jumping on from one tip to another or one thing to another. It's not good, sustainable. And like you mentioned, people buy, but they don't like being sold to. So eventually, like generally in any business, right, there is competition in any type of business. So you need to have some kind of a differentiation for your business, and at the same time have your business in front of these people in a way that they are telling you, I want this. You don't want to sell them; they want to buy without feeling being sold to. So that's very important in this integration of all of things.
Yes, you need to make them open their wallets to pay for your product. And that's actually always as a result of a pull strategy, right? Making somebody want it. It is a sophisticated sale. There's no doubt about it, but it is a psychology-driven sale, right? What businesses resort to mostly, it's a push communication, right? This is my product. I believe it's fantastic. Well, because I believe it's fantastic, obviously you will believe it's fantastic, because it's my product. And the funny thing that, once you start questioning, it's like, okay, so why your product is so good? You know what? It's like the first answer is because I believe so, which is fantastic. And the second answer is like, you're questioning my genius. Like, I'm like, well, yeah, in a way I do, because I want to understand why somebody want to pay for it. And not because you developed it. Honestly, they really don't care. And this push communication of me too products, because they're all very similar. If you take whatever category, small business category, you will see that all products are pretty much similar. Pricing strategy gonna be similar. You're gonna have your different tier pricing. Often, communication, it's very much product-led communication. But again, within one category, you're gonna have pretty much the same product characteristic as everybody else, right? So there's no point for me to choose you over somebody else. Or what is even worse, because if I choose you for the first time and you would assume you got a customer, I have absolutely no reason to stay with you later. And if you offer me a loyalty discount or whatever it is, it's called bribes. You bribe me to stay with you if I don't want to, because there's something else better. So which means that even bribing people with loyalty schemes doesn't guarantee that they're going to stay. So you offer nothing for me to choose you and like a solid reason, and then there's no reason for me to stay. So how will it work?
Yeah. So what are the best differentiation options for businesses to have more profitability? Like I seen a lot of people talk about, for example, like if you have a certain price, a certain product, a certain price or a service, like it's not best to discount. Like for example, you're mentioning here, you don't want to discount. Like for example, give them some kind of a payment plan. So is that a good differentiation, for example, do you think for that?
Oh, well, discount really depends on the price positioning or the value positioning of your product. The kind of two schools of thoughts, price and value, they're similar in approach. But there are certain brands that you can discount. There are certain brands that you can't discount, because they're going to devalue products. So really, it really depends. It doesn't apply in every cases. With regards to differentiation options, they are, well, in my kind of opinion, awareness, they're around 7 different options. So 4 are rational, such as the first one in the category. So, having competitive advantage because you've just launched. You have another one that is based on value, product quality, and customer intimacy. And 3 others, they are brand driven. So they're not rational, they're emotional and intangible. And in all fairness, the best differentiation you can get is going to be emotional brand differentiation. It's not about products. So it is very intangible. And just to preempt the question, brands as general, it is an intangible thing. Intangible thing kind of makes no sense.
But what do you mean emotional? How do we differentiate a business in an emotional way for the customer?
Um, well, there is brands you can also differentiate based on meaning, and you can differentiate based on image. Let's probably start with image because it's easier and it's an example that you will easier get better understand. You buy a luxury watch. You can imagine that you have a massive number, many different options, brands of luxury watches. So you will choose, I don't know, Rolex instead of Patek Philippe. Why would you go for one option or another? Because they will do exactly the same. They will show you time, right? So, and the quality is going to be good. So it's exactly what you need from a watch. But you don't buy a luxury watch because it shows time. You buy it because you want somebody to see something about you, right? You have a certain image of yourself in mind, and you want other people to notice who you are based on this image, right? So image is one way of differentiating. Usually, again, it works in luxury because you can go slightly different direction, that is meaning what this brand means. It's a bit deeper, it's a bit more powerful, but you connect with people based on their values. Brand positioning, it's the biggest because it combines meaning, it combines image, both. And how can you connect on emotional level? It's there is, about Maslow pyramid. Yeah, pyramid of needs. So it's a similar approach that you use in research. It's called brand laddering. So you take your product, your attributes and features of your product, and you start asking your customers questions. It's like you're going deep. It's like you buy this, why? Because this and that. Why? This and that. Why? This and that. And every time you're moving through every step, you will see like people, when they start, I want to buy this watch because it shows time, why it is important to you, because this and that, why it is important to you. And ultimately, you come to the point when somebody says, because I want to be seen as this person, or because I do care about this. So you come to emotions. And emotions, deeper you go, it becomes a stronger differentiator. So what example I can give you? So food, if we talk about food, you can position your food as kind of in the area of hedonism. It's a enjoyment, right? So it's going to target certain people that have more like hedonistic luxury, nature in them. Or you can position food as nourishment. So basically feeding, which means nourishing somebody, which means taking care of somebody. Or you can position food as health and well-being if it has certain characteristics. Or you can position food, or in this case, for example, drinks, as Coca-Cola does it. It has totally different archetypes. So it's all about friendliness and company and enjoying time together. You see, I'm talking about the same product, but I have already created immediately 4 different brands.
Mm.
And you can kind of, within each emotion, you can kind of fine tune it to create further differentiation. But this is the most sustainable way because it's very difficult to copy. The product is very easy to copy. And then the worst thing about using product as your differentiator, apart from it's easier copied, also you can have somebody who can up with a better idea. So your product is going to get obsolete. It's like, for example, Skype, Skype that used to be massive and then got overtaken by Zoom, and that's it, because somebody offered something better. So, and this kind of how it happens in the world of products. They're always something going to be better, cheaper, larger. People learn from mistakes, from what is available, and create something that is more interesting to customers.
Definitely. But you mentioned the word why. Like it's important to get deeper and deeper, like as much as possible, maybe 5, 6, 7 levels deep of why, asking people these questions, only why, and they will tell you the reasoning why they want something. And
Yeah.
it's something that is very deep and have the connection with the client. And this is how you can differentiate yourself from other businesses on a shallow differentiator, which is maybe pricing.
Yeah, pricing is a reflection of your brand positioning because food that is kind of targeting hedonists, like, high quality, say Michelin star, food, by definition is going to be more premium and it's going to be more expensive. Something that is more like, it's like community feel, let's sit down together. It's usually going to be more like mid price or value for money. So it really depends on positioning. Not every positioning can bear a premium price. It really depends, the different archetypes, the different opportunities.
Definitely. So do you think that all of this that has like all of this asking the why for customers has something like replacing the products, like in your example Skype replaced by Zoom, for example? So innovation is a big part of the business strategy, right? Because we want to develop in certain point. A company can grow so much in a certain product or a certain service. So how innovation and the people within the business, the employees or maybe the other suppliers or people involved in the business can contribute to that, specifically that if we are talking about a business owner that they think that they know everything, but probably they don't know everything. So they need basically help from where they can get it.
So if you please could repeat the question, because
Mm.
I understand that you're talking about innovations, but it's about
Mm.
innovations or it's about getting help?
Yeah, it's about the innovation, that because eventually the business owner cannot do everything by themselves. They definitely need people to help them with that, right?
Yeah, right. So about innovation, I guess there's a misconception. Well, again, innovation, if you choose innovation as a differentiator, it's going to be one of the strategies that I referred to earlier. When I talk that rational differentiation, that's product, based on product. And if you choose this direction, that you need to make sure that your company and your resources are fully aligned behind the chosen direction, because innovation requires massive investment. It's investment into the, not only developing developing prototypes or whatever it works, but also generating this idea, analyzing it, researching it. So innovation is sustainable as a differentiator as long as you can align your company resources on innovating consistently. Because once you stop, again, somebody gonna take over. It's inevitable because somebody going to be learning from your mistake, and be prepared, to what you can't afford at the moment. So that's kind of a really trick, think about innovation that I don't believe people realize. And another thing, that there are different types of innovations, because often, I don't know if you're coming from software business, something obviously that I wouldn't know about. But in a product-led business, what often happens that companies introduce minor innovations. We're going to twist something here. We're going to change. We're going to enhance the smell. We're going to create a bigger packaging. Really basic and sustainable things that don't really matter to customers, but innovation can be meaningful. It can be in the areas, how the companies run, how the customer services run, how you talk to your customers. So things that you don't perceive as innovations because you are totally focused on product, but something that is less significant can actually be worth much more to your customers.
Okay, so we have to focus on that, because when we are talking about maybe some businesses need some kind of a help for hiring some kind of a strategist to help them do that. So, in your own experience, what is the, maybe let's say, the best or worst advice that you heard in your career?
Advice that I had in my career. It's a very good question. I don't believe, I don't believe that if I was asking for advice, it was very early in my career when I still didn't know what I was doing. And when I figured out, I stopped asking for advices. So what I was doing, I was studying, I was learning. There's a lot of resources. Again, HBR, Harvard Business Review, is probably the best one, the easiest one. And this is where you source your knowledge from, because I wanted to learn from the best. And for me, this particular resource is a benchmark. In my book, at the end of the book, you're going to have like a library of books, reading lists that I recommend, because the book that I wrote is like a textbook. It gives you full overview of marketing and business and strategy, all that you need to know. But it's more like also like a springboard. If you realize there are certain areas of interest, there is a reading list recommended, and it's another, way of enhancing your knowledge. So it's not about asking advices. It's about not being afraid to admit to yourself that you may not know enough. Because one of the risks of business owners is that starting a business and giving yourself a wonderful title, I'm a founder or CEO, right? It's like means that I'm running a business. Actually, no, it doesn't. It just means that you have a title. It's like with brands or products, you have a product, you give it a name. It's like, I have a brand. No, actually, you have a product with a brand name. You don't have a brand, because brand is much more than that. The same as being a business owner. Giving yourself a fancy title, it's not enough. You have to have knowledge behind it and accepting it. There's nothing wrong about it, it's just realizing that you can enhance it. You already above so many people because you have courage to start your business. That is scary. That is risky. You have it. You have what it takes, but, well, business knowledge, I guess, may be helpful. So that's that's kind of advice. It's basic, but it's going to do the trick.
Yeah, definitely. Well, Erin, where can people get in touch with you, learn more about you and what you do?
Well, I guess website sounds like a obvious shop window. This one was created for go and go through images. It's quite wordy. So images again gonna do the trick, so you don't waste your time on reading it. Apart from the website, actually, yeah, there's a fantastic page. There are freebies. There are a few things, resources you can download. Some of them will be probably more helpful than others, depending, where you're coming from. But there are assessments, self-assessments, that are linked to all my programs, but I'm not selling programs here. It's not about that. So you can download these assessments and look at the criteria of what is strategy, what leads to profitability, because strategy is not enough. Strategy is one of profitability pillars, but there are other things such as people, because people, it can be partners, customers, employees who drive your business. You have to realize that, that they have to be taken care of, because without them, it won't exist. So there are a few other things, and you just can download these questionnaires. I try to explain everything, what it means, and, look for yourself what you have, what you don't have, what you can pay attention to. So that's an option. Alternatively, yeah, there is a book. The strategy guide is called From Purpose to Profit. It's available on Amazon. Can't control Amazon pricing. They do whatever they please. Honestly, it's disastrous, and there's nothing I can do about it. But the book is available on the Great British Bookshop with 50% discount to the listeners of the podcast. You're probably going to put the discount in the notes under the video. So that may be an option, because it's specifically written for small business owners to get like full dive into marketing and business strategy. And then it's really gonna kind of, I hope is going to be helpful. It's also written in very easy language, so nothing scary, nothing academic, lots of examples, lot of consumer psychology, because it's all about psychology again. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, Erin, Andrea, thank you very much for joining me for this episode of the podcast. You provide us with a great insights into strategy and business, and it is very important to eventually to know your limits as a business owner and maybe help or hire the right people to the business. That's important for business growth and profitability in the future after the 5 years also, because we don't want to stay in business after that. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, don't be afraid of hiring people that are better than you. That in this particular area, don't try to hire for exact industry match, because either way, in this case, you're going to get a one-trick pony that knows only this particular product category and nothing else. And it's you can't grow the business being 100% traditional and doing exactly like everybody else. Don't be afraid of hiring people from different categories who know what they do. And don't be afraid of hiring somebody that you believe may be even better than you, because this is how you grow.
Thank you very much, Iran.